How far, Naija? My name is Jefferson Clever, and you're welcome to this week's episode of Naija Talk-Talk. For this week's episode, we're going to be looking at gender-based violence or domestic violence in the world. It has become an issue that everybody has been talking about, with stories and experiences being shared from marriages, from individuals in relationships. So we're going to be asking Nigerians today, what do you know about gender-based violence? Have you experienced domestic violence at any level? Okay, if you know someone who is in a relationship such like that, what would be your advice to the person? Let's go, Naija.
Gender-based violence is any form of violence, like it implies, meted out to any individual, it could be male or female, as a result of their sex, or as a result of gender roles that the society, puts on men and women differently. So, speaking of gender-based violence, it has always been a pandemic, but I think that in recent times, people started speaking up more about gender-based violence because of social media. And then I think in 2019, 2020, when the COVID-19 pandemic happened, there was also a shadow pandemic that the world had to deal with. It was a pandemic of gender-based violence because a lot of people were locked up with partners who were more like violent partners. Their intimate partners were violent, and they were locked up with these people because the lockdown happened in so many countries across the world. And I think that's brought some kind of spotlight on gender-based violence. And a lot of people began talking about gender-based violence, became an issue on the internet, on traditional media platforms, and so many people got talking about gender-based violence.
Between last year and this year, Cross River State government has recorded about 4,000 cases of abuses. And the neighborhood care in the last 1 year, we've recorded about 188 cases of gender-based violence within Cross River, Calabar Municipality, and Calabar South. So gender-based violence has become a norm in our society, and many people, many women and girls in particular, who are faced with these issues, most times don't know where to go to, who to talk to, and even when they get medical help, they don't get psychosocial support. So they live with the memories, which influences their attitude and directs their lives in future.
The verbal violence is involved where in issues like hate speeches on the woman. Let me take the woman for instance. The psychological violence involved when you psychologically, demean the woman. It tantamounts to violence. The physical violence, that's the battering, the beatings, and other forms of violent touch on the woman. Social, economic violence, where you deprive a woman the forms of economic livelihood. So all these things tantamount to violence.
It can actually be both sides, both male and female.
It's unfortunate that we come from a very patriarchal society, and we live in a society where there's the role of societal norms, egos, and all that have always, over the years, put men ahead of women. So it's easier for you to find men violating women. Even, we're not saying that there are no cases of women violating men. Of course, there are these cases.
Men cry out looking for help from tormenting women. I tell you the truth, if you have to go through census, yes, 100% you will say the women run over 70% of the abuses. But I tell you, men are also suffering. I could list means, of course, where the men are suffering in this gender-based violence. Some, they will tell you, be a man. So you don't cry out. And that is why you could see that it is suppressed when it has to do with the men. Of course, you all African, you must be a man.
Last week I had a call from a woman leader from Calabar Municipal. A man was beaten up by the wife and the children. He packed his things and went back to his village and ran after reporting. He couldn't even sit back to get justice. Probably was ashamed at what would happen, because we would have decided to lead him to services that are available to him, but he ran off the city before we could react. It does happen to men, but men should be bold enough to say, look, I was beaten up by my wife, look at the scars. But men don't do this. And if you don't say, what can we do? For what's not spoken up, nobody can hear it.
Normally, when we receive such complaints, you have to listen to the victim carefully to understand if there is any provocation, because sometimes they provoke it. Then, if not, then all you need is to get the necessary facts. And then, at another time, you invite the perpetrator. When the perpetrator comes, you begin to interrogate. Immediately he's being liable. What we do that most of those cases are cases that are criminal. They fall within the criminal code. And so if the school cannot handle it, you send it to the police station where they will do that. But if we discover that it is something that can be handled, we engage counseling. We begin to counsel them towards trying, because one, a situation where you are seeing the same person over the years, because it's going to be a 4-year program, 5-year program, and somebody has molested you, somebody has threatened you, and you continue to be with that person, then we must consciously take time to make sure that we remedy that situation by inviting both parties, identify the root cause of whatever must have happened. And then when that is identified, you see how you can counsel both parties to be in peace and ensure that they can go about. Otherwise, sometimes if you take these matters outside, it rather degenerates to a situation where some will decide to leave the environment, and that will not be nice at all. And the school itself has rules and regulations governing such actions. And if that is done, they usually have the school disciplinary committee that receive this matter and deal with them, because these are a body of men that are experienced and knowledgeable in these things. So they will listen to them and deal with them. And any person that is culpable, usually you're either expelled, you either face expulsion, or you are suspended, or you are given any other punishment. And if it is that you are that kind of type who is a recidivist, who is habitual, you are sent and handed over to the law enforcement.
Everybody deserves equal respect. However, there are some women who intentionally invite this violence onto themselves by way of their attitude and character. But that is not a justification whatsoever for violating a woman.
Why would a man beat a lady? Like, is it even normal?
I do not see myself beating a woman.
I had a friend that was into it, and like, it was very, very bad. Like, every day she received beating.
There are better punishments you can give to a girl instead of raising your hand on her.
When a man beats up a woman, oppresses a woman, and strips the woman of her fundamental rights, duties, and obligations, it's like him trying to bulldoze a woman and then feign the love he once professed to that woman.
My advice to anyone who is going through any form of domestic violence in his or her marriage is to walk away. You need to be alive. Only people who are alive stay in marriages. I'm a journalist, so every time, and because I'm a gender rights advocate as well, every time I get reports like this, we've had a case where a friend came to report that her friend had been beaten to death by her husband. Of course, it was more like accidental. But you know, when these beatings become too frequent and you try to protect yourself. Okay, this was exactly what happened. The beating was going on. She ran into the bathroom, and of course, most times bathrooms have towels and they are slippery and all that. So she slipped and fell, and she was gone. It wasn't the man's intention to kill. His intention was to hit, of course, like he's always done. But in this case, a life had been lost. Most times when you speak to women who are victims of domestic violence and who still stay in these abusive homes, they always say, oh, I had to stay because of the children. Oh, I had to stay because of what society will say. Oh, I had to stay because because how will people look at me? People will think that I have a failed home. My children must not come from failed homes and all of that. We'd always say separate. While you're probably trying to get counseling or trying to get help or trying to get maybe or hoping that change will happen, it's necessary that you step aside first for your mental health, and of course for your physical health, and of course for these children that you're even trying to protect.
I have a simple answer. You get out of it. There is no way a man or a woman is gonna change. Statistics are shown. If you have to do your research, you will see that gender-based violence is a circle. The children come up behaving that way. The entire vicinity smells violence, and of course anything can happen in such a family. And so I just tell you, you don't take any excuse from anybody, just get out of it.
If the marriage is not working, please just quit. It is better you separate than to die in a wrong marriage.
I don't really buy the idea when people say I'm in an abusive relationship and I'm still in it. It always pisses me off.
Somebody like me, I can't die in silence.
The good thing is that NGOs in Cross River State had collaborated together and pushed the bill of Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which was passed into law in Cross River State finally in December. And because of this law, every perpetrator will be taken to court and justice must be served to the victims or the survivors. Cross River State has laws on ground to ensure that gender-based violence is addressed. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Action AIDS Nigeria Global Affairs Canada is supporting us to work in Calabar South and Calabar Municipal under the Women Voice and Leadership project.
We should strive to be a better society by, reporting cases of gender-based violence and making sure the best we can is let's get back to the African way of living where we ought and remain to be our brother's keeper in all ramifications.
Men should learn to control their anger.
NGOs are doing a lot of work, CSOs are doing a lot of work, ensuring that survivors get some sort of succor, maybe in form of medical succor, legal help, justice, of course, at the end of the day, when they are violated in any form, whether physical, whether emotional, as long as it is reported or as long as it gets to these people, the NGOs, the CSOs, I must commend them that they are really like watchdogs, ensuring that these people get the justice that they deserve.
Global Affairs Canada and Action AIDS Nigeria have made sure that there is budget for medical care, for legal support, referrals are there. Their partnership with psychiatric hospital to send us psychologists. We're even having drop-in center for people that are on drugs. We're setting up platform for anger management for husbands who cannot stand their wives who are flippant and talk fast when they can't say. I have in our database women whose eyes have been ripped away, hands have been cut away. I have a dead body in the mortuary at the teaching hospital as we speak. A few days ago, a woman walked in here, her head has been injured severely with a stone. The other one, the man has been stalking and then broke bottle to kill her. Several issues. If you are in this space, please call us 0703 1982 031.
So this is also a charge to relevant institutions, to government agencies, to see to this that shelters are created for this kind of people. So when people run to you complaining of, oh, I've been violated by this person, sometimes these people are family members, and sometimes these are children, and these children cannot just be left with these people who are a risk to them. They need somewhere. They need to be somewhere. I mean, you take them to the police, and the police stations do not even have necessary facilities to keep these people with them. So while the NGOs are working and doing their bits and creating interventions, these counterpart fundings are necessary. It's also necessary that the government understands that these people are not there to do the real work of government, because the work of governance includes protecting the rights of citizens.
I want to implore on the government to bring out stiffer laws on perpetrators of these crimes. And I want to equally encourage organizations both in and outside the country that support this cause. For victims, you approach the police. The police will help you investigate the crimes, and the perpetrators be charged to court to serve as deterrent to others.
Have you been abused? Maybe it was 20 years ago, but it's affecting you today. Have you been raped? Have you been denied access to your inheritance? Or somebody is denying you the opportunity to be educated, or to have money, or to have a good job? Take up our helpline daily. Report to us. There are case managers that are trained that will jump on the issue, and they will run the entire race with you. We don't just refer you, we do escort referral. We make sure that you get medical care, the best of it that we can provide.
In summary, it isn't right on any account for you to use your own power to suppress another person's fundamental rights. It is not right for you to beat up a woman as a man, and a woman, because of your affluence, to beat up a man. If you're one of those people who engages in domestic violence or in gender-based violence, please stop. There are penalties at you. So, do well to comment under this video and share experiences with us. Follow Didi Production on any of the social media handles displayed on the screen to get updates when we drop a new video this Friday. See you, Naija.
Didi Productions, we tell your story by capturing every moment and preserving your memories.